Hello guys, you are seeing Prime News Australia, where we show you the latest and important news of Australia in the fastest and reliable way. So come, let's start by not delaying 25 big updates of the Australia, especially for you. Before proceeding in the video, comment by commenting from which state you are watching, and also like video so that YouTube can reach this video to more people of Australia.
Bureau of Meteorology has warned that a tropical low in the Coral Sea may intensify into a cyclone later this week. Coastal areas of far north Queensland are being advised to prepare for heavy rainfall, strong winds, and possible flooding. Emergency services have begun community alerts, urging residents to secure property and follow evacuation instructions if conditions worsen. Prolonged rainfall across northern Australia has raised river levels in multiple regions, increasing flood risks for remote communities. Authorities say soil saturation is already high, meaning even moderate rain could cause flash flooding. Transport routes and supply chains may face disruptions. Residents are being advised to avoid unnecessary travel and stay updated through official emergency channels. The Australian federal government has announced a review of disaster response readiness following repeated weather emergencies. Officials aim to strengthen coordination between states, improve early warning systems, and increase funding for local emergency units. Climate experts continue to push for long-term adaptation planning, warning that extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and intense across the country. Anthony Albanese acknowledged ongoing cost of living pressures, stating the government is working on targeted relief measures. Rising grocery prices, housing costs, and energy bills remain major concerns for households. The Prime Minister emphasized that upcoming policy decisions will focus on easing financial stress while maintaining economic stability and inflation control. Speculation continues over the next move by the Reserve Bank of Australia as inflation shows mixed signals. Economists remain divided on whether interest rates will remain steady or face further adjustments. Mortgage holders are closely watching developments, while business groups warn that prolonged high rates could slow investment and job growth in key sectors. Australia's housing shortage remains a key political and social issue, with approvals for new homes failing to meet national targets. Industry leaders are calling for faster planning approvals and increased infrastructure investment. The federal government has reiterated its commitment to boosting supply, but critics argue progress remains too slow to significantly ease affordability pressure. Tenants in cities like Sydney and Melbourne continue to face rising rents and low vacancy rates. Advocacy groups are urging stronger tenant protections, while landlords cite higher interest rates and maintenance costs. State governments are considering regulatory changes, though opinions remain sharply divided. Senior defense officials confirmed expanded military cooperation between Australia and the United States, particularly in cyber and space capabilities. The partnership under the AUKUS framework continues to progress, with joint exercises planned later this year. Government leaders say the alliance is critical for regional security amid growing geopolitical tensions in the Indo-Pacific region. The Royal Australian Navy has participated in a large multinational naval exercise in the Indo-Pacific region. The drills focused on maritime security, disaster response, and interoperability with allied forces. Defense officials said such exercises improve readiness and reinforce Australia's commitment to maintaining stability and freedom of navigation in international waters. Australian travelers heading to Europe are facing longer flight times due to airspace restrictions in parts of the Middle East. Airlines have adjusted routes to ensure passenger safety, resulting in delays and higher fuel costs. Passengers are being advised to check flight updates regularly and allow extra time for international connections. Despite recent global incidents, Australian aviation authorities reaffirmed that domestic air travel remains highly safe. Regulators highlighted strict maintenance standards, pilot training, and monitoring systems. Airlines are also reviewing emergency response procedures to align with updated international safety guidelines, ensuring continued public confidence in air travel. A tragic boating accident involving recreational fishers has prompted renewed safety warnings from maritime authorities. Officials stress the importance of checking weather conditions, wearing life jackets, and carrying emergency communication equipment. The incident has reignited calls for stricter enforcement of boating safety regulations across coastal regions. Australia's climate policies remain under debate as environmental groups call for faster emissions reductions. The government insists it is balancing economic growth with sustainability goals. Critics argue current measures fall short of international commitments, while industry groups warn that abrupt changes could impact jobs in energy-dependent regions. Several large-scale renewable energy projects are progressing across regional Australia, creating new jobs and investment opportunities. Solar and wind developments are expected to strengthen energy security and reduce long-term power costs. Local communities, however, are seeking assurances regarding land use, environmental impact, and long-term benefits. The National Party has undergone a leadership change, with senior members emphasizing a renewed focus on regional development. Party leaders say priorities include agriculture, infrastructure, and cost of living relief for rural Australians. Political analysts believe the leadership shift may influence coalition dynamics ahead of future elections. Australian schools continue to face staffing shortages, particularly in regional and remote areas. Education departments are offering incentives to attract teachers, including housing support and relocation bonuses. Unions argue that workload pressures and burnout must also be addressed to ensure long-term workforce stability. The federal government announced increased funding for university research, targeting innovation in health, technology, and climate science. Officials say the investment will support global competitiveness and skilled job creation. Universities welcomed the move but stressed the need for sustained funding beyond short-term budget cycles. Hospitals across Australia are experiencing increased patient demand, particularly in emergency departments. Health authorities attribute the pressure to an aging population and seasonal illnesses. Governments are investing in workforce expansion and infrastructure upgrades, though healthcare unions warn that staffing shortages remain a critical concern. New funding has been allocated to expand mental health services nationwide. The initiative aims to improve access to counseling and crisis support, especially in regional areas. Advocates welcomed the move, but emphasized that early intervention and long-term care pathways must be strengthened to reduce system strain. The government is reviewing Indigenous housing programs to address overcrowding and infrastructure gaps in remote communities. Leaders from Indigenous organizations are calling for greater community involvement in decision-making. Officials say improving housing conditions is essential for health, education, and long-term economic outcomes. Australia's retail sector reported mixed results, with online sales growth offsetting weaker in-store spending. Analysts say cautious consumer behavior reflects ongoing cost of living pressures. Retailers are focusing on discounts and loyalty programs to attract customers during the coming months. Farmers across Australia are closely monitoring weather conditions as rainfall patterns remain unpredictable. While some regions have benefited from improved soil moisture, others face flood risks. Agricultural bodies are urging the government to enhance disaster insurance and support programs for affected producers. Tourism numbers continue to recover steadily, with international arrivals increasing compared to last year. Regional destinations are seeing renewed interest, supported by marketing campaigns and improved transport links. Industry leaders remain cautious, noting that global economic uncertainty could still affect travel demand. State governments across Australia have announced faster timelines for major public transport projects aimed at reducing congestion in growing cities. New rail extensions, metro upgrades, and bus corridors are being prioritized to meet rising commuter demand. Officials say improved public transport will cut travel times and emissions. However, infrastructure experts warn that labor shortages and rising construction costs could still cause delays. The Australian dollar experienced noticeable fluctuations in global currency markets as investors reacted to shifting commodity prices and international economic signals. Analysts say iron ore and energy exports remain key drivers of the currency's performance. While exporters may benefit from a weaker dollar, importers and travelers could face higher costs. Economists advise caution amid ongoing global uncertainty. Consumer protection agencies report a rise in digital scams targeting Australians through fake investment platforms and impersonation messages. Authorities say losses have increased despite awareness campaigns. Citizens are being urged to verify communications, avoid sharing personal details, and report suspicious activity. The government is also considering tougher penalties and stronger cooperation with banks and tech companies to curb online fraud. New funding has been announced for sports infrastructure upgrades in preparation for future international events. Officials say improved facilities will benefit grassroots participation and elite performance. Local councils welcomed the investment, highlighting long-term community health and economic advantages. Authorities across Australia are encouraging communities to improve emergency preparedness. Public campaigns are focusing on disaster kits, evacuation plans, and reliable information sources. Officials stress that individual readiness plays a crucial role in reducing risks during extreme weather and other emergencies.